Welcome into Racing to Win, something a little bit different for this midweek episode upcoming with Hong Kong's current leading jockey, Hugh Bowman, not too far away from joining us, but the boys are here as well. Of course, Paul Alley and Tom Wood. And Tom, if you don't have to break your neck to look around this far, what can we look forward to on Wednesday night?
You're a long way around there, Mark. Hello, everyone. Yes, a good meeting coming up at Happy Valley. Hopefully the rain stays away. Looks like the weather should be mostly fine. And we've got a Class 2 over 1650 to round out the night, which is a good field with the likes of the Irishman, Telecom Fighters, who won at the back end of last season, and Galaxy Witness for his second up run of the season also. And
Paul, are there jackpots?
Yeah, there's some really good jackpots coming up, so the punters will be happy. 26 million going into the triple trio, 17.7 jackpot, so should get over the 26 million mark. And also the 6-up win bonus, 4 million going into that, so that should get up over 8 as well. So a couple of really good jackpots earlier in the season here.
Joining us now on Racing to Win, a very special guest to look ahead to Wednesday night at Happy Valley. It is a very informed Hugh Bowman. Hugh, thanks for your time, and firstly, congratulations on a terrific start to the season.
Mark, hello, and to the guys, thank you very much. It has been an enviable start, and hopefully we can keep the momentum going at Happy Valley tomorrow night.
With the rides that you have had at the 3 meetings so far, did you give yourself a good chance of, if not winning the race, certainly finishing second or third?
Yeah, well, I certainly thought on Sunday, I had 8 rides, and I thought all were legitimate top 4 chances, and that proved to be the case. And it was one of those days where everything just went right. You know, I didn't seem to find traffic. I got a smooth passage on every horse. And look, when you go to the races with 8 rides, it's rare that you won't have trouble on one of them. So it was a really smooth day for me. The horses all ran to expectation, and I managed to get 3 winners. But despite that, the others ran really well, which was encouraging.
It's a full season for you this time, Hugh. You arrived midway through last season. What about from a preparation point of view? Because you ride nearly every day in Sydney. You've had the off season. How different was the preparation coming back to Hong Kong for meeting number 1?
Yeah, well, I was very mindful at my age and my weight to be careful during my time off. I did have a nice break. The girls and I had a nice couple of weeks in Vietnam, but then I went to a health retreat and I just did something different that I hadn't done before, and it seemed to motivate me physically and mentally doing that. And then I had the opportunity to go back and ride in the Winx Stakes at Randwick before coming back here to Hong Kong via Singapore. So I did a little bit of riding, not a lot, in the off season, but I think by doing it the way I did, it just laid a good platform for me to come back fit and healthy. I'm still, like I said, I'm riding 125 at Happy Valley this Wednesday, but I'm looking forward to getting that weight down to be riding 124 comfortably, and I think it proved to be a good weight, a consistent weight for me last year, and if I can do that again this year, which I will, it's just a case of hitting the mark in the near future. It'll set up a really consistent platform for the remainder of the year.
Hugh, you mentioned the weight that you can do, hoping to get down to 124 pounds. What's it like with that the lifestyle balance versus being the jockey lifestyle in terms of getting the weight down? Can you do any less, or are you happy with getting it down to 124?
I could do a bit less, but not consistently. So that's why I don't put my weight as less. If the right horse came along with 123, well, I'm certainly capable of doing that. And if I really had to push to 122, but it's not an area I really want to go to 122. So, look, I know my body well. I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I can deliver on a consistent basis at that level at 124. And whilst I'm getting the support and the understanding of the connections, I know I can deliver at that level. If I try and push lighter, then we might get a bit of inconsistency in the riding, make mistakes, get suspended, all sorts of things come into play, which I've learned over the years, and, that's where I'm at. So it's working so well so far, and, that's what I'd like to sort of set up for the remainder of the year.
Hugh, is there a horse that is exciting you at the moment that you're sort of working or looking forward to riding later in the season that we haven't seen out yet?
No, there isn't. One horse that does stand in mind, it's the first horse that actually has really encouraged me since I partnered Sword Point in the early stages of the 4-year-old series last year, is a horse called Unison, who will step out soon for Jamie Richards. And, you know, I don't think you'll see the best of him first time out, but he's a horse I'd be inclined to sort of follow through, you know, for the next couple of months. I think he's a horse with nice potential.
Well, certainly make a note of him as a horse to follow for you. Hugh, speaking of horses to follow, your rides tomorrow night at Happy Valley. You kick off for Douglas White on Classic Archie, a Class 5, and that seemed to be a grade where he was improving last time in.
Yes, and he's a consistent horse at that level, and that's where his chances lie in the Class 5 department. But he's like I said, he's a consistent horse, and you know what you're going to get. He draws one. He's going to get a lovely run throughout, and I mean, I think the 1800, I suppose, first time out this season, you know, if there's a clinch in his armour, it might be running at that distance. But in saying that, I think it's an ideal trip for him, and he's going to get the perfect run, and I'm sure he'll make his presence felt.
What about June Planet, Hugh, again in race number 3? He's a horse that always seems to run on no matter what sort of trip they stick him over. What do you think the key is to maybe getting him home in front tomorrow night? Because he's likely to be short again in the market.
Yeah, well, he always goes out because he's always running on so well. In my personal opinion, the 2 times I have ridden him are over this course and distance, ironically enough. And, you know, things haven't really gone his way. He's a horse, I think, that needs the pace right on, particularly at Happy Valley. And, look, I think he's a lovely horse. He's consistent as well, but he needs a race run to suit to a degree. But he comes into this race with a really solid foundation run recently at Chartin. And I like the fact he's going to 16.50 early in the prep. Might be a bit of freshness and speed in the legs. But it is important that I know he's got a get-back pattern, and I don't mind that, but I just want him to really switch off, because when I rode him, he didn't switch off, and he didn't really find the distance to his liking the first time I rode him there. So a little bit questionable, to be honest, but we know he's got the talent, and if the races run to suit, he will certainly be in the first 2 or 3.
Keep you warm, Hugh, one of your rides later in the card, a new horse for Mark Newnham. I know you rode him in a gallop down the back straight there a few days ago. What sort of feel did he give to you? Because he is an older horse now.
He's an older horse, and he's gone a long way down in the ratings. So he's a horse that's proven to have better ability than what his current rating sits at. But whether or not we're going to see that performance at the races is well, my guess is as good as anyone's. But he did feel really good to me at track work the other morning. He went with a partner on the grass and felt really good. So he went through his work. I didn't ask him to do a great deal. So, like I said, we're not going to know until the question is asked on race night. But he's got the advantage of draw 1, which is all important, as we know. And he's going to get his opportunity to run his race. And I'm like you, I'll know more after the race than before it. But I'm satisfied that his performance he'll give you a run for his money.
Got 6 rides tomorrow night. Hugh, looking forward, your 3 wins off 100 wins in Hong Kong. What are some of your other goals for this season? No doubt looking forward to getting back on Russian Emperor.
Yeah, Russian Emperor. I did see Douglas this morning, and I was keen to talk about Classic Archie. He was keen to talk about Russian Emperor. So it was nice to sort of have that conversation. He'll step out soon, and looking forward to reuniting with him in a trial. And yeah, looking forward to what lies ahead for him this prep. But for me personally, look, I'm looking, obviously it's been a great start. Couldn't have gone any better. I'm feeling, I feel really motivated, which is great. Christine and the kids have settled in very well. And having that advantage of sort of coming back to Hong Kong and being settled from the beginning rather than moving our entire life over here as we did the middle of the last season. It's been a much smoother transition for all 4 of us. And, yeah, look, we're just focused on doing what we can with the opportunities we get and the way things are going. Hopefully they continue to flow.
Don't want to get carried away, Hugh, but we're, 3 meetings in? You're on top of the premiership at the moment. Can you take it to Zach Purton with your, even though you can only sort of get down to 1, 2, 4, can you take it to the premiership to Zach? And how important it is to try and spread yourself across the trainers? Because I know you've had 6 wins for 6 different trainers.
Yeah, well, I wasn't actually aware of that, but I've said it many times that I've had a great show of support from a wide range of trainers and owners since I arrived here in November. And, I'd like to think that will continue, but ultimately, I just want to focus on myself. I'm not focused on Zach. I mean, he's been, he's set a standard here in Hong Kong that everyone aspires to get to, of course, but my motivation is a little bit different. I come here much later in my career. I've done a great deal at home in Australia, and it's a different stage of life to me, and really I just seek happiness in my home life, and I seek happiness on the track, which is coming with a constant flow of winners. And for me, if I can build on what I did last season, which was 60 or 70 winners, I think, with a bit more time up my sleeve, if I could push up to around the 100 mark, I think that'd be a really good, realistic and achievable goal. And if I can do that, well, I'd be really satisfied.
Hughie, thanks for joining us on Racing to Win. Keep up the great start to the season. Any chance that we might see a Bowman named by the Winx filly that goes through the sale next year?
You're more likely to see my name beside it before the sale than after it. But it's been an interesting piece of news, and the managing owner did call me to alert me of the fact that she's going through the sale. So I'm just as interested as everyone else. And actually, we took the kids to meet her in the off season, so I hadn't met her before. So she's a lovely filly. She's got a lot of characteristics of Winx, and it'd be lovely to see if she could have any sort of inkling of Winx's ability on the racetrack. It'd be a wonderful story for everyone involved.
She's a while away, but we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks again, Hugh, for your time here on Racing to Win.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, there he is again, Hugh Bowman. Paul, great to have him part of the show, and isn't he riding so well?
He is, isn't he? Look, and he seems really happy with life. Everything seems to be going pretty well here in Hong Kong for him, so long may it continue.
Yeah, I think he's really going to make a real race of it this season between him and Zach Purton. Whether he's got the firepower and ammunition to get past Zach in terms of the premiership, he's leading it to this point, a long way to go, however, but rocketing along quite nicely.
There is the Jockeys Premiership. Tom, you can see on screen there, Bowman Purton at the top. Angus Chung and Luke Ferraris have kicked off in fine style too. Yeah,
Angus had a good day at the weekend. And look, I think Luke's in for a big season. Karis Teton, he won't be too far away. Of course, he missed a fair portion of the opening meetings last season, did Karis. And I think you'll see someone like Brendan of Della a little further up the line as well.
And he hasn't got a bad book tomorrow night either, Paul, back to Angus Chung. The £7 claim's coming in handy.
Yeah, no, it has really coming in handy, and a lot of trainers are making good use of that, and he's on a couple of horses I think are good chances.
That has been part one of Racing to Win. We're going to take a break now. We'll come back and have a really close look, an in-depth look at a good field, the Class 2, the last, right after this. Welcome back to the second part of Racing to Win. We're going to have a close look at race number 8 shortly at Happy Valley. But first, Paul, you've got a last run reminder for us about a horse on Wednesday night. Yeah, look, the horse is Dancing Code. Now, this particular horse has only had the one start at Happy Valley and won it. You can see him coming out here at Sha Tin. He basically got squashed up there and got absolutely poleaxed. He's sort of a younger horse, so he's had the off-season to mature now, and you can see he ended up posted pretty wide, and he was wide the whole way, and he ran on quite nicely, I thought, here for 5th in quite a strong race. Bundle of Charm, the winner of the race, is a pretty good horse. So he's got blinkers on for the first time coming up at Happy Valley on race 7 on Wednesday night. And I just like the way he finished off. You could see him still running about. So he's still got a little bit to learn, but coming back to Happy Valley, I think, is a positive for this horse. And I like the way he finished off strongly there. So a nice run, I thought, from Dancing Code. Race 7, number 1, his trial at Chung Fa was very good also. That is the last run reminder. Meeting details for this week. We're back to a normal start time too for an 8-race program of 7:15. Rail goes from the A to the B course position. And the race that we're going to focus on is race number 8, which gets underway at 10 minutes to 11 o'clock, class 2 over the 1650 metres. The Irishman at the top of the book as we check the withdrawal. The new number 9 is Butterfield. Luke Ferraris replacing Looking Great. So 1650 with the Irishman at the top of the book, getting a couple of pounds off for Jerry Chow. Telecom Fighters carries the same weight as what he did when he won at the back end of last prep. Spirited Express has placed the only time at the trip. We've got Rise Brethren on the back of 2 trials coming here for Zach Purton and Jamie Richards. Galaxy Witness we've seen already this season, goes from the 1400 up to the 1650. Further down, Nearly Fine has 1 second up. He comes back to Happy Valley. And Helene Feeling, last start winner in Class 3 at Sha Tin, Tom, will make his Class 2 debut.
And the pace in this race should come from Telecom Fighters. He comes out of barrier number 12. He got to the front and dictated. He had a really good kick in the straight to hold them out. I would think Helene Feeling would come across next to him and sit handy as well. Of course, he was a winner at the back end of last season. Then outside of that, you've got Chirin Red Sun. Everyone's Delight is another horse that certainly can race handy, but don't think he's got the legs this time round to lead, Paul.
No, and the Galaxy Witness who's drawn barrier 10 might have to go all the way to the back just to stop sort of a wide run there in this particular contest. We know Nearly Fine gets back. Irishman, look, I've put him sort of just 3 back on the inside. He might be slightly further back. He's put on a bit of weight in the off-season. He's up 44 pounds.
We'll talk more about him and the others shortly. Firstly, though, Nick was at Sha Tin this morning to talk to the rider of Telecom Fighters. It is Lyle Hewitson.
Lyle, Telecom Fighters is your ride in race 8, the Victoria Harbour Handicap, a Class 2. He's a winner at the grade, and he's a horse that you're creating a bit of an association with.
Yes, he's getting on now in age, but I must say he felt really good in his trial the other day, and his fresh-up record is pretty good. So happy to be back aboard him, and yeah, like I say, he's always a competitive horse and gives his best. So looking forward to taking this opportunity again.
He took a sort of notable scalp when we saw him last back end. Obviously, Galaxy Witness was best of the rest, but he beat a pretty solid field, didn't he?
Yeah, well, you know, that again, he had a little bit of a break and came into that race off 1 trial and had trialled really well. So in sort of the same situation now, albeit a couple of points higher, but being such an honest horse, and he will run another good race.
When they have a fresh record, Lyle, as good as he's 2 wins from 3, which is quite good by my very poor maths. How confident can a jockey be knowing that this is their first up run and that they've got that sort of record?
Well, you know, it allows you, especially at the beginning of the season, everyone is probably just behind their 100% fitness. So it allows you to ride a horse as if he was 100% fit, because he obviously enjoys it fresh. And like I say, he gave me the feel that his well-being is really good at the moment as well. So yeah, we're ready to go.
Let's finally just address the elephant in the room, because gate 12 is not going to make your job any easier. I guess that is the one caveat against him potentially running a really good race.
Yeah, well, that's the only other thing. It could mean a little bit more petrol has to be used, but with that said, I think there's only one other horse that has forward running speed, and he has very, very good gate speed too. So I think if any horse you didn't mind being drawn 12 with, he's probably the one.
Paul, you were keen on him in that last win that we saw in that replay. What about in the race this week?
I'm going to include him in the numbers because he's got that really good fresh record. He's just very high in the ratings. He's at an all-time career high of a rating at 98, and he's got to carry the big weight as well. That was just a little query, the 2 queries I had. The horse he was alluding to that's got that early speed, everyone's delight, might make it just a little bit harder for him as well.
He'd be the highest rated horse in Mechoy's stable at the moment, probably by quite some way. He's only had 9 starters this season, Mechoy, just for the 1 placing, so he'd ideally like this one to finish certainly in the top 2, I'd say.
Absolutely. So that's Telecom Fighters. Thomas, we move on to the Founds pair. This is this season because they're both backing up from the opening day at Sha Tin, Galaxy Witness and the Little Grey Nearly Fine.
Yeah, Galaxy Witness, I thought, ran a decent race here. He has 1 first up, he has 1 second up. The draw might be the little negative here. He ended up about midfield last time out and boxed on, I thought, OK over the final stages. Nearly Fine 1 first up last season, 1650, and then 1 second up, 1800 metres. So I thought it was a decent pipe opener here for him, Paul.
Yeah, good runs from both those 2 horses, and we've seen Casper's horses already on the quick back out come out. Valhalla's come out and won last Wednesday night, so they've obviously come on for the run.
Our next one, Paul, is form from last season. Helene Feeling, this over 1600 metres, a horse that's had 5 starts, 2 wins, 3 placings. He's had no luck with the barrier again, though.
Yeah, he's drawn wide. He's drawn 11 at his last 2 starts and run second and 1. So he's managed to overcome the barriers once again. I think he can. He comes in with a lightweight. Zach's ridden him in every race here in Hong Kong, but obviously can't ride him at 117. Karis Teeton will take over. He's got a big horse too, 1207. You can see him fight on really strongly to win this, so I give him a chance.
He's maintained about his last racing weight as well, has Helene Feeling. He got up his favourite there over E-Legend, and I thought in his trial with Karis Teeton aboard, he did travel strongly under a hold. So just has to get away cleanly from barrier number 11, but he's done a mighty fine job since arriving. 2 wins, 2 seconds and a third from his 5.
Yeah, 2 starts at the 1650 for a win and a second also for Helene Feeling. The trial file now, Tom, Natural Storm, this was far too short for him. He was tailed right off. The further they went, the better the Irishman looked, didn't he?
He's looking for something easy, I think, Natural Storm at this stage. I know he's went around a Group 1 company last season, so this is easier, but he's looking for something easier again, is Natural Storm. But the Irishman, as Paul mentioned, put on a bit of weight, but moved well on this trial, wasn't beaten overly far behind and counted at the back end of the season over 1,600 metres. And he has gone well fresh, Paul.
He has, yeah, he has gone well fresh in the past. He's got to carry top weight, although Jerry will take a couple of pounds off him. The 44, that was the sort of thing that worried me a little bit.
Oh, we'll get a report on him from the paddock prior to the race. Turin Red Sun's had a couple of trials for Pierrong. Paul, Spirit Express wins the trial and he gets away to score by a length and 3/4 and appeared to do it very well.
Yeah, he did. He won quite nicely, Spirit Express. Someone that's up in the ratings. He's up at a rating of 92. His last win was off the 86. But I thought he won this trial nicely enough. Turin Red Sun, we saw him perform in this trial as well. He didn't go too bad. It was an easier trial from him.
He's in for me, Spirited Express. He's won in place at the Valley. He's placed course and distance. Andrea Azzini on board for the trial. He looked to move well. He had a tough run last start.
It's a good report for Spirited Express. Now, this is Miracles leading for home here, Tom. It's hard to get a gauge on this trial because he missed the start on the weekend, but Rise Brethren does run him down.
He does, and it was a good trial from him to put him away over the final stages. Rise Brethren, a 3-time winner. Hasn't been in the Jamie Richards stable overly long. When I say that, sort of middle to late February, he moved over there, but he had to weigh that he had to like the way he reeled this horse in late in the trial. He's definitely in, Paul.
Yeah, I quite like him in this race. He was beaten a short head on his seasonal debut last year and then came out and won a second start, so he's another horse that does go well.
His last run was behind Sword Point. He trialled enormous on Tuesday morning at Shark.
Okay. You can see those trials on the website too if you want to see how Sword Point went, but we need your selections, Paul.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rise Brethren on top. I really like this horse in this race. He's a horse that goes well fresh. I think he can win, so he's on top. Helene Feeling can get across. He has done in his last couple of starts. Galaxy Witness with that run under his belt, and Telecom Fighters with a really good fresh up record. 6-11-7-2.
Yeah, look for a little bit of value in this race. One of Casper Found's runners, Nearly Fine, who comes into this with 1 run under his belt. Wasn't beaten too far behind the Golden Scenery at Sharton, who's due to line up again this coming weekend. So Nearly Fine over Rise Brethren. Helene Feeling's done a terrific job since arriving. And I did like the trial of Spirited Express, Ricky Yu and Andrea Azzini riding. So 10, 6, 11 and 3.
There it is, an in-depth look at race number 8 at Happy Valley on Wednesday night. The Class 2 1650 and a very good field engaged. The best bet, Paul, does it come up in race 8 or are you going earlier?
No, I'm going to go with Rise Brethren. I think he can win the race. He should be a decent price because it's quite a good field. He's got Zach Purton aboard. He's drawn nicely in barrier number 4. I just think he's really well placed in this, so I think he can win. That's race 8, number 6, Rise Brethren. I'm going to do a long shot. It's had 2 starts and finished towards the back in both runs, which is Cosmo Navigator, son of Darcy Brahma. He's drawn nicely in barrier 2. I think he'll get a perfect run just in behind the pace, and there is a bit. Didn't mind this trial either. I thought he's definitely improved in his trials. He's put on 8 pounds in the off-season. Did pull up lame after his last start, so he had clear excuses. They've given him plenty of time. We know Pierrong's horses are pretty fit. So coming back onto the turf, I do like him. And the play of the day, we're going to have a look at that with early on in the card, race 2, Savvy Chic, Wood on Fire, and Colonel from the front, QQP.
Best for me comes up in race 7, number 2, Solid Impact for David Hall and Zach Purton. He's just a one-time winner of his 18 starts, but as we roll in this trial, he was very good here and wasn't really let go overly strongly over the final stages, but he attacked the line well. He's getting past colourful Prince here and also Wood on Fire in this trial. So like the way he moved late, looked to be under a nice enough hold at the post. Zach Purton riding for David Hall. Value comes up in race number 8, number 10, Nearly Fine. Keith Young's tasted success early on in the season. He rides for Casper Found's, a 4-time winner through his career, Nearly Fine, and we'll take the play in that final race as well with Rise Brethren, Nearly Fine and Helene Feeling.
Going for a horse that runs without a trial on Wednesday night, race 5, number 7, Melbourne Hall, as he did for his first start 12 months ago. No trials, and he was heavily backed and missed by an eyelash. He draws barrier number 1. No better man on board to have at the moment than Hugh Bowman for David Hall. Ha at heart in the Class 5, Brenton Avdulla and John Size. Nothing in 8. His trials have always looked okay, and he's won at Chungfa leading into this race on Wednesday night was good too. Nice draw barrier at number 3. So race 4, number 7, Ha at heart. And the play, race number 5, a QQP with 3 Galvanic, 4 Kazi Farazi and 7 Melbourne Hall, 3, 4 and 7. And of course, there are 7 races that we haven't previewed here on Racing to Win, but you can check them out on the website, hkjc.com. Click on audio and video for race by race analysis. The diary of what is upcoming over the next 7 or 8 days. 6:45 trackside live on Wednesday night for that 7:15 start. There's group racing coming up at Sha Tin on Sunday with the Celebration Cup. Trackside live from 12:30. Post time for the opening race will be 1 o'clock and then back to Happy Valley next Wednesday night, the 27th of September. So that has been Racing to Win. Speaking of Happy Valley, Tom, it's free entry.
Yeah, all part of trying to reinvigorate the nightlife here in Hong Kong post-COVID, so no $10 gate charge anymore. So we saw a huge crowd there last Wednesday night, Paul, but the rain was a bit of an annoyance, but hopefully that stays away.
Yeah, that stays away. We get a fantastic crowd down there. It's the best show on earth on a Wednesday night.
It is indeed, and you can get in for free. That is a look at what is coming up as far as the next 7 days go. We heard from Hugh Bowman. We thank Hugh again for his time. We thank Tom. We thank Paul. And we thank you for watching. We'll see you at Happy Valley for an 8-race program. Just a reminder, 5 minutes later than last week, the first race. We'll see you for the opener at 7:15.